AJ Insurance, a company embedded in the Thurrock business community. What insurance services do you provide?
Every type of insurance. I deal with personal lines, which they always tell me is the easy stuff, and that's things like private car, home insurance, travel insurance, all the kind of things that the average guy in the street would need. On top of that though, we do commercial insurance as well. We've got a lot of larger commercial clients where we arrange motor fleet cover, public liability cover, commercial property. We've also got a life and pensions department, and so really every kind of insurance need.
And has the business changed over the years, and if so, in what way?
Yes, I mean, I'm embarrassed to say how long. It's the only job I've ever had, and you know, when I started, everything was manually issued. I'd stand there and write a cover note for you. Now everything is completely computerised, so there's that change. There's also the change where so many people have had the opportunity to go online themselves, you know, to arrange their own policies, and there are some really good deals out there online. But obviously you're not getting the service and the expertise, and sometimes not getting the cover that you think you're getting by arranging it online yourself.
So when you use the word expertise, what expertise does AJ Insurance have? Is it as opposed to, is it speaking to people who've been decades in the business as opposed to somebody who's simply in front of a screen?
Yes, I mean, it is very different. I mean, if I say to you I've been doing this for 30 years this year, the business has been established since 1979, and it's almost like you're able to anticipate people's needs rather than them coming to you and telling you what they want. They might think they know the right kind of policy they need, but you can look into it a little bit further and see how you can offer a policy that can adapt to their needs as they change.
In 2013, are there new, different forms of insurance that people are coming in for, or is it still very much all those that you've already described?
Everybody's still got to insure their car. It's a legal requirement. It's not compulsory to insure your home, you know, your buildings and your contents cover, but when you think about it, I mean, it's probably the biggest asset any of us are ever going to own, our home, isn't it? And it's not just an asset, it's where you live, you know, all your memories of your family, so very important that you protect your home. Other things have changed. I mean, car insurance now, there are so many options available apart from, you know, arranging insurance online yourself. There's also a new product called telematics. It's Big Brother, where you'll have a black box in your car and the insurance company can see exactly where you're going, how fast you're going, you know, what you're doing. So technology is changing the product, definitely.
What do you enjoy about your job?
I'm speaking to dozens and dozens of different people every day. And you build up a relationship. I mean, some of our clients go back right to the beginning in 1979, and it's nice. I mean, you might only get to speak to them once or twice a year, but you really do feel you've built a relationship with them. And no one person is the same as the last one you've spoken to. Are
your clients only from Tilbury and Thurrock, or further afield?
No, I mean, initially when we first set up the business, it was very much local based. My dad came from working in Tilbury Docks, or from London Docks, and then moving down to Tilbury Docks, and he was very well known in the area and brought a lot of business into us in that way. And it was very different the way people bought their insurance 30 years ago. You would walk into a local broker and, you know, arrange it over the counter. Things moved on, and you know, the first sort of players that came into the market that took you away from a local broker might have been somebody like Direct Line, and people were more confident making arrangements over the phone. And for us, rather than seeing that as, you know, a downside to our business, we thought, well, let's open it up. So we opened up our advertising nationwide as well, to the point now where I can take one call from somebody in Southampton and the next one will be from somebody in Bristol, the next one will be somebody in Glasgow. So our business now is nationwide, but we do still hold a very healthy bank of local business, which, you know, we're happy to do and rely on.
You're very much a Tilbury company, aren't you? You seem to be very much immersed in the local community. You're proud of that?
It. Oh, definitely. I mean, it's where I've lived for most of my life. Like, I still live in Thurrock now. We are well established. Like the moment you say to somebody, AJ Insurance, oh, I know him, or my dad's insured there, or so yeah, we are very proud of it.
Do you get people coming off the street onto the public counter?
Oh yeah, we do, yeah. Not as much. I mean, I can remember going back again, like when I first started working here. Saturday was such a busy day. You'd arrive to open the door at 8:45, and you'd have a queue of people waiting to get in to sort out their insurance on a Saturday morning. Very different now. I mean, people are much more happy to make arrangements over the phone and use the phone at work as well, and get it all sorted out during the day to keep their weekends free. So we find weekdays now are much busier for us than Saturdays.
Around with our office on our back most of the days, a lot of technology, and you see a lot of people walking with worldly goods.
Yeah,
Should these people
yeah.
be getting insured?
That's it. It's really surprising now when you if you stood there and thought about, what I've got on my person at the moment, what's in my handbag, what's in my pocket. Everybody's got iPhones or the like, and as you say, you might be walking around with your laptop or an iPad, and that's all the kind of thing that you can cover under your home contents insurance. You can get really extensive cover for items outside the home, and I always get frustrated when people are talked into sort of paying a lot of money on their phone contracts to insure their mobile phone when they could quite easily tack it onto their home insurance and have better cover and save themselves a lot of money as well.
A lot of organisations, say for example banks, without naming any banks, offer different forms of insurance, like car insurance. Would you advise people maybe to have a closer examination of what they're actually getting?
Well, yes. I mean, we've had experience before where clients say, oh, I don't need motor breakdown cover with my policy anymore. My bank gives it to me for free. But when you look at it, so many times it can be such a limited cover. For instance, they'll come out to you at the side of the road and go, oh yeah, your car's broke, but they won't then get you home, Similarly with travel insurance cover, people assume, well, it's going to cover my whole family. It doesn't. It covers you as the account holder. There's lots of, what they're throwing in is such a limited cover that it doesn't suit most people's needs. So you really should be wary of anything that's offered for free.
The banner behind you says AJ Insurance Service, also AJ Life, and independent financial advice. What does that mean, independent financial advice?
Well, that they're not tied to any one provider. They will look across the market for you, to look at all the different banks, building societies and the relating insurance cover that goes with it. So rather than if you just walked into the Nationwide, for instance, all they're going to sell you is Nationwide products, our advisors will look across at a huge panel and find what's right for you, not what's right for the provider.
So in conclusion, Paula, what are your challenges, opportunities over the next 5 years?
I always look at challenges as opportunities because everybody in my industry is facing those same challenges, so it's how you respond and react to them. Ongoing for us is the increased level of competition with direct insurers. Every time you turn on your telly, you've got the fat bloke singing at you. And what we are seeing is that an awful lot of customers are being tempted away by those cheap prices, but realising they're not what they're getting, what they thought they were getting for their money, particularly when a claim occurs. And that's when they'll come back to you for the level of service and the reassurance of the support you'll give them, if they have to make a claim. The other big challenges in our industry are regulation. And don't get me wrong, nobody likes regulation, but I can see the value of it to the customer. I mean, really, all the regulating bodies are trying to do is to make sure that the customer gets a fair deal, and that's all we've ever wanted to do here. So I'm happy, to comply with all the regulations. And while it's a challenge to do that, I know there's competitors of mine that won't meet that challenge. So for me, it just gives me more opportunities.